subject we're talking about right now is something that's kind of something I find is crucial because I think I've watched a lot of cop audit videos where, First Amendment, people are trying to test the boundaries of cops know knowledge of like, what is allowable by law, which the cops can do during stops or during encounters where they're in private, public places, video recording. A lot of people have real angry attitudes about people who are recording in public, which you're allowed to do, and they also roll their eyes when the people say that they call themselves independent journalists, which they are. Okay, so anyway, out of this though, we've seen a lot of abusive behaviors engaging the cops engaging in a lot of abusive behaviors and threats and stuff like that.
And
And
these are just our opinions.
these are just opinions.
Our opinions.
Our opinions, and so we're not legal experts, but we have taken pains to make sure that we're not going to say anything that counters that which we've already been told to do from lawyers and from law enforcement authorities and stuff like this. See, another thing is one of the biggest things is like I've seen people say, well, the responses to these auditors, they say like in the comments section, they'll say like, well, just give the cops your ID. What's the big deal? And it's like you just make things easier, okay? And what do you say?
No, because police are they're anytime there's a police interaction, it's an investigation.
It's an investigation, yeah.
They're not friendly when they're in uniform because that's not what they're there for.
Yeah, it's exactly. They're not there to be your friend. They're not there. And I
They're
have
doing their job.
they're doing the job. Their job is the point. Basically, the job from the municipality or the governmental agency that hires them is they want to make arrests. They want to do investigations. Everybody is a target for them. They don't have favorites unless it's one of them.
But you do have police officers that don't want to arrest everyone. I mean, yeah, I don't think the average police officer goes into an investigation wanting to arrest someone.
No, I don't think that, but I think it would be a feather in a cap if it was something new. And then they're hoping. I think a lot of them are hoping that's going to happen. They're going to uncover that. They stop this guy, they check him out.
No, because come on, you've done jobs. When you first started that job, you were all excited to do it,
Right.
and then towards the end, you just go through the motions, and you don't want any trouble. You just want to have a good day,
Right.
and I think that's where police officers are too. Because I've been in those situations when I was in the military, where I had power over people.
And
it's not that fun.
No, it's not because you'd realize. But see, the thing is,
especially when you see people shaking when you're talking to them, that's not fun.
Well, see, the thing is, cops will bring that up there in like a lot of these videos. Somebody's trying, they come up to a cop, somebody, the person's got their phone running, got the cameras running, and they say, "Why are you shaking so much?" They're basically antagonizing them. I think I don't think it's concern.
No, if they've had enough investigations. If they come up, you know it's a problem when somebody starts off. They've been a police officer long enough to know. Anytime somebody has a police encounter, whether they're guilty or innocent, they're nervous.
Right.
They know that. So that person's just being, for a lack of better terminology, a dick.
That's what I think. That's what I say. Why are you so shaking so much for it? But then I've seen cops. I mean, starts to shake too when somebody challenges their authority. I mean, I don't know if it's out of anger or out of fear. I mean, some people shake because they're angry, But all I know is that too many people are on these. These comments are so willing. If they're really this willing to hand over their information, I think they're seriously mistaken. And
no, because that information is going to be taken,
right,
and it's going to be put in a computer, and it's also going to be dispersed through other agencies.
Exactly.
And your name may pop up for something else that you thought was innocent, and you're under investigation for something else because of that interaction with that police officer when you gave your ID when you didn't have to.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, they'll say they want you to do that, but when you do that, they use it against you. See, I always assume, now maybe this isn't good legal advice, but I think it's a good rule of thumb. As soon as a cop approaches you, it starts talking to you, I would say that that's already an encounter. That's probably I would consider at that point almost leading up to arrest, even if it's not. Stop. Don't be a chatty Cathy. Don't talk to the cops that much.
I mean, you can give them your ID if you want to.
Right, but I think it's
when you have. I mean, you don't always have to, because Michigan's not a
stop an ID state. And most,
if you're just standing out in public, a police officer can't come up to you and they can ask you your name.
Right.
But they can investigate.
Right.
But you don't have to do their investigation for them.
Exactly. Good point. Good point. See, what it is don't try to assist the cops. But thing is, now, say if you're driving a car, the right of driving is not considered a right of a U.S. citizen, which we just are because we're the ones that pay for everything. But regardless of that, that's considered a privilege. So you have to present ID, proof of insurance, and registration of the vehicle. You have to. Okay.
Depending on the state, some states just want to see proof registration.
But it's good, but the standard is basically
Yeah,
you have to present ID,
registration
yeah,
and insurance card.
insurance
But
cards.
they know who you are before they even come up to your door
Right.
because they can run your license plate. Well, they just want to make sure you're the you're if you that you're the owner of the car. I
Right.
mean, 'cause obviously, if it comes up a male and there's a female driving, he knows that that person doesn't own the car.
Of course, nowadays it's
But
like
nowadays, like you said, misgendering.
Yes.
I don't know. It could be 50-50.
So yeah, but I just say the rule of thumb is if they're asking for your ID, they already got something in mind. They got something in mind that they think you're good for.
Possibly fit a description, or they're just canvassing the area for possible suspects.
Because I mean, I've had instances where I've actually been stopped by cops. They weren't one particular incident has happened nearly 20 years ago. It is 20 years ago yesterday, okay? Just the day before my dad's death, right off the where the studio's at. Guy comes, I'm walking out the door because I can't get hold of my dad on the cell phone or the home phone. So I'm kind of concerned. So I start heading down towards this house. He's a few blocks from here. And there's a guy standing in the corner across where the studio's at now. There's no lights on, street lights on. He's dressed in black. He's got no
Right.
cop regalia on, and it's like, he's wearing a black Carhartt jacket. He asked me to come over to him and talk to him. Well, this is 8:30 at night.
Yeah, I wanted to come up. And I said no.
No,
Or
anyways,
started running.
so I started getting out of there. He chases me down, pulls a gun on me.
Oh man.
Yeah, he pulls a gun on me. He starts calling me player. And you came out of that drug house, referring to where we're at now.
Which
This
is not
we're
a
a
drug
drug house.
It's where you live.
Right. I was living at. And this SOB pulled a gun on me. And the only reason I never filed a report on that is because there was a day that was a night of the before my dad died. Okay. Other than that, I mean, I damn near got killed possibly. This SOB pulled a gun on me. Okay. Because and he didn't identify himself when I carry
He's in plain clothes.
yeah, he's in plain clothes. The only thing that keeps me from like totally freaking out when he gets where the light's at, because there's like a street light where he comes running towards me at. It's more in the center of the intersection. I see that there's something hanging out from underneath on his like a lanyard, and I see it's a damn badge. Okay. So I mean that angers me, and that was 20 years ago. That still angers me almost like to the point, but I had I mean, it was pushed to the side because
So what
the next day my dad, well, basically he turned, I said, I was carrying a CPL, carry with a
Yeah.
concealed pistol license. I told him, now damn near pulled on him. And I turned around, he patted me down. He said, where's the gun at? He saw where's that. I had my ID. I presented to him over my left shoulder, it was on from my wallet, and it was like available. It was in one of those little windows.
Right.
And so he saw that. Well, then he got a call, and then he got a call, and he just basically let it go. But I mean, I damn near got killed. The guy pulled a gun on me. Okay. And he didn't identify himself. He wasn't wearing easily identified clothing, and it was in the dark. He's calling my house a drug house, which angered the hell out
But
of
in
me.
that incident, because you have CPL,
Right.
it was your duty
The- the-
to
the-
show your ID.
Deep. Yeah, but I didn't. Yeah.
If you're carrying.
Yeah, but I didn't know he was a cop. I mean, he was standing there in the dark,
I mean,
no cop car around. They're all
if you
playing.
felt threatened.
Yeah,
And I guess you could have turned and shot him.
yeah. I mean, he could have got either one of it. It could have gone down very bad. I'm so the thing is, I'm not a cop. If I kill somebody, I'm responsible. No, I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to go to have everything taken from me.
Especially if it's a police officer.
Yeah.
And there's no witnesses, and if he's dead, it's your word why you did what you did.
Right. And
somebody would have to believe you.
Right.
So I don't think they would believe you.
no, and besides, nobody back then, 20 years ago, they didn't even have the body cams coming. That's more
Right.
10, 12 years ago. That's been coming in more into fashion, more into use. So, I mean, and this is that's just one. Okay, that was just one instance I've had dealing with cops where they did not represent themselves accurately. They were coming off and they wanted to intimidate and cow me into giving up information. I didn't even know who these people were. Okay, this guy was. So luckily he says he saw the ID and stuff like that. He had it. He looked at it for a second, and that was it. He got a call because they were doing raids that night, and you could see cars, regular cars, unmarked vehicles parked up and down the streets. The different,
I
different
mean, because this area was
It's-
riddled with drug houses.
at that time. Yeah,
It was all the way up Oklahoma.
yeah. So that's where it was. But I mean, and I could have got killed. And because this cop was not in uniform, he didn't clearly he didn't say police or anything else, which I'd be very doubtful if somebody if said police, man. Well, I'm still gonna be hesitant to walk into somebody 8:30 at night in the middle of winter because they're calling me over to talk to me.
But for a normal stop, we're not saying to be rude to police or whatever.
No,
Just
but
do what you feel comfortable with, knowing the information that we put out.
right, and another thing is too, I'll refer you to like videos that are done on YouTube that are done by
You could just do a search.
research. Busted is a good one by Ira Glasser. He used to be the former director of the ACLU, and I would recommend checking that out because it's got information of all levels, like stopping, stops on the street. Also, when the cops come to your house, how to handle that. He's got some great things there, and I would refer you to that because nobody can charge me of saying like you're giving out legal advice. I would say go to the people who are the legal advisors and the people and like then check that out. But I it was crucial that you would know your rights because even if you're trying to be you're cooperative, that can be a noose around your
But I
neck.
think the average person is going to have police interaction on the roadside.
Right.
I don't think 'cause I've never had when I was a little kid and I was where I wasn't supposed to be, and he was just scaring us off
Right.
for being a bunch of little
Little
kids playing behind a building. But as an adult, I've never been stopped by a police officer.
So I've been walking around. I've had a cop try to stop me when I was 23 years old, try to tell me that I had a curfew violation. Now it wasn't an area of like it wasn't during a
'Cause we used to have, yeah, there was a curfew in the city of Flint.
for 16-year-olds.
Like 11 o'clock, wasn't it? Or was it
Actually,
10 o'clock.
actually for younger people, it's 8 o'clock at one
8
time.
o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. But I'm 23 years old, okay, and he's trying to tell me
At
there's a
the
curfew
time,
violation.
not
That's
now.
no,
You're
no,
not
I'm
23
61
now.
now, and he was trying to tell me I had a curfew, a possibility for a curfew violation, and he did actually he actually tried to get the identification. Then one of the guys I was with, and the only thing he had on that had his name on it was his varsity jacket he was wearing.
That
You know,
probably looked like a high schooler.
he basically still he's just out of high school. He's just out of high school. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like the cops did that to intimidate people. I mean, that wasn't even at 8 o'clock at night. The lights are still on. I mean, there's still a light out. I mean, not lights are still on. And he was trying to intimidate us to say we could get us. It was like 6:30 in the afternoon, evening. It wasn't 8 o'clock. I was not covered underneath an 8 o'clock curfew. I was 23 at the time. So it just angered me. I mean, they try to intimidate people and be pulling BS and they come up with law. And you see that one on the cop audit videos too, where they come up with crap that I can demand ID. You have to present ID anytime a law enforcement.
No, but
You don't have to.
one of the things I've seen with the audio videos more and more, police officers are more understandable and they're educated. Matter of fact, I forget what the name of the auditor is. I think you told me that he actually goes out and he educates police how to interact with auditors.
Yeah, Sean Michael Reyes. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does that, and he's won a lot of cases against cops for wrongful arrest. His net worth is around $8 to $10 million. So I mean, and people say, why is he doing that for? Because somebody has to. Somebody has to. I admire that. I mean,
To a point.
well, I think you got to
When
be
they
able to
start calling
find it.
police officers names.
Well,
and
see, the thing
things,
is, he doesn't do that.
No, but there are ones
Yeah.
that do that.
Yeah,
You
Delete's
don't-
Law
you-
does
You
that.
don't need to do that.
The guy that goes by Delete's Law, he goes by the name of Chili. Delete's Law, you ever seen him? He's really aggressive. Now, I have a hard time. I mean, I think it's funny because
Yeah, but it's easy to be followed and driving your car. You're not thinking, and then you get tickets.
yeah, it's just let's face it, cops can play
You put a
retaliatory.
target on your back.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot more of them than there is a year.
Yeah, one person, but then we outnumber them yet. So keep that in mind too. But yeah, as a whole, as a nation. But I mean, I still think that in Michigan, and I don't know about any other state, but in Michigan, a person becoming a barber is required to go through more training than a person becoming a cop. Now I realize there's a total different type of training, but we're talking about classroom hours. A person becoming a barber has to undergo almost 1,700 to 1,800 hours, where a cop is less than 600 hours of training, less than 600. It's like 594, 95 hours of training. And that's including physical stuff and driving skills and all this stuff, but very little. And I mean, I was in classes over at Mott. The thing is, I've had procedural law and I've also had constitutional law. Procedural law basically is what court has oversight. That's what it is. What court has oversight for type cases and stuff like that. So circuit court and district court, whatever they all have different functions. So you learn that kind of stuff. But they also cover the basic stuff. And I'm sitting there in class with people guys who are already cops in different municipalities.
Mhm.
When it come up to about stopping AD, they insisted. This was a practice attorney teaching the class. They said they have a right to check every time they want ICID, people have to present it. And the lawyer said, look, you're going to be a wet dream. That's why he put a wet dream for, a defense attorney, because they're going to come after you and sue you and municipality for this stuff because you're so wrong. I've been doing it for 10 years. So they had
You've been
admitted
wrong for 10 years.
you're wrong for 10 years. Unfortunately, nobody knew that. See, thing is, I mean, basically, I don't want people having their rights violated.
But I
mean,
don't want people being disrespectful to law enforcement officers either.
I want to be compliant. I don't really
Right.
care about respectful.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you should be respectful.
Well,
If
when
they're showing you respect and they're calm,
a cop who calls you a player, he knows he's not being respectful.
no.
Yeah, sorry, I have a hard time for that. So I
I
mean,
understand
yeah.
the situations that you were in, but
Yeah.
I'm saying the average person being ticketed or possible ticket for speeding or something. You don't want to be. You
No,
don't want to be.
no,
a
you don't want to bury
jackass,
yourself. I mean,
because the
that's
guy might let you go. Because I mean, I've been pulled over enough, not recently, but in the past, where they let me go just because.
well, the things I like to walk away with is like police ask because they are suspicious. Is if an officer asks you of information, it's usually because you may fit a description. That's a building a case, or they want details, details about someone you know. Those things are those should be red flag scenarios for you. Also, remember, police can lie, and they overuse that. Believe me, they'll lie about everything. Okay, sorry, I'm sorry I'm offending people, but it's true. Information goes in a database, like Steve already alluded to. I mean, and it can be shared with other databases and other law enforcement agencies. Protect yourself. You have rights to remain silent, and you're free to leave. Keep on saying, am I free to leave, or am I being detained, or am I
And the
free to
most
leave?
important thing is, if you choose to remain silent until you get a lawyer,
Remain silent.
don't say anything.
Don't say it. And so don't call them names. Don't
You don't
engage in
have to
them.
prove your innocence.
Because actually, I think that's going to go worse against you if you try to. Because I mean, I had a friend I knew when I was in a Masonic order, as a DMLA. Later, he was in the military. He came on. He was a cop in Genesee County for the sheriff. He was a sheriff's deputy. He goes, he liked some of the guys. He said, but even he knew that when they were out there patrolling, they didn't have friends. They didn't have family members. Their job is to do this. So we keep that in mind. You might know the guy, but when he's on the clock, he's going to change. His perspective is going to change.
Or hers.
Yeah, her change. So I mean, know that. It's like basically being forewarned is being forearmed. Okay. I'm not saying you have to be armed and go hurt cops, and for God's sake, don't take it that
But
way.
my opinion is, be respectful. John might not want
Well,
you to be
be terse.
respectful.
I think it should be terse, because if you're too polite, they'll take that as I've been over compliant with
I'm not
cops.
saying say yes sir or no, sir.
Right.
I'm saying
Just say yes or no.
yes or no.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to call him sir. or
Yeah, 'cause
anything like that.
It sticks in my throat when I
Most
do
of them are
that.
going to be 20 somethings, anyways.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm not going to call it 20 something, sir.
sir, I have a hard time with that. But anyway, I just want you to know that, like I said, know your rights, know that you have options, know that you don't have to be a chatty Cathy. The cops are not out there to be your friends, though. And we don't want them to be anybody's
But
friends.
9 times out of 10, officer interaction, if it's ticketing,
Right. It's just going to result in that.
yeah.
Fight it out in
But
court.
we're talking about if you're walking and you're in public and you just the police officer, in my opinion, has no business talking to you. They approached you.
Right. And one time me and my friend were walking down the street, just like 3, 4 years ago. And my friend had a friend that stopped and asked him for something, to come over to their house to do something for him later. They stopped, they're in their vehicle. And right directly behind us, parked at an intersection, was a state police car. And as we continued our way, we didn't try to avoid the cops. As we went by, the cops rolled down their window and asked my friend, "Do you know those people? Do you know who you're talking to? Or what are they?" Basically, they don't have a right to do that. Okay, they don't. I mean, I can see if they saw something like cash being exchanged, or some packages coming back to the person or something. I can understand them being, given flag and having flags on that action. But we're just saying you didn't see anything like that. Just there, talk for a minute. You come over to the house later, and I got something I want you to do for me. That's what it was.
Okay, and I think we got this pretty well
But
talked
anyway,
out. But if you got anything to say it in the
Yep.
comments. If you think we're wrong about something, or you think that we're right, let us know.
Yep.
Or if you've had an interaction,
We'd like to hear
let
about
us know. We want to hear about it.